Hello and welcome to the Knicks-Verse. My name is George, and today we have our special guest back, JD himself. Welcome, JD.
Thank you, George. Thank you for. I'm excited to be here again.
Awesome. Yeah, last time we had a blast recapping the OKC game and talking about RJ and his incredible arc that he's on. Today, we're going to do something similar. Today, we're going to talk about Immanuel Quickley and whether he should keep starting or not, or what his role should be in the future, especially when Rose comes back from COVID. And whatever happens with Peyton, we'll see. But first, we're going to start off with a quick share our feelings about the back-to-backs, the brutal back-to-backs that the Knicks just endured. First one versus the Nets and the Sixers. The Nets game really hurt. I really wanted that game really badly, and we had it. We made a valiant comeback. It just fell short. There were several reasons why, but I think that's a moral victory loss that I can live with. As you can see, I'm even kind of tensing up saying that.
I know you were emotional after that one, and
I was heated after that one. Well, because the refereeing was ridiculous. The ball clearly, if the ball spins after it's touched by the opponent, that means the offensive player has lost control of the ball. That's just the way I see it. NBA disagreed, even the 2-minute report disagreed, but whatevers. That was a tough loss because it's Brooklyn, but there were lots of moral victories all around, including the fact that James Harden noticed that the Knicks fans drowned out the Nets fans. And a little message to the 7 Nets fans that are out there, the true fans, not the bullshit ones on Instagram that just follow the team because they have a bunch of superstars on it, but like real fans. I'm going to tell you this right now.
Take it easy.
You ain't winning shit. You ain't winning shit without KD. You're not. You're gonna do fine. It's gonna be wonderful to watch you lose to the Sixers or the Bucks or whoever, maybe even the Knicks if we face you in the playoffs. But without KD, you're not winning. That's just the way I see it.
I thought you were gonna take it easy, George.
I am taking it easy. I'm smiling. I'm smiling, but that's just, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me the team that we faced that played against us with a rookie point guard, his first start ever, and no, we didn't have our starting center, and they barely beat us. In fact, Kyrie choked at the end. They all got tight at the end. They couldn't make a bucket, but neither could we. But we played incredible defense. Those 2 stops that we got at the end were fantastic. Of course, all of that was for naught because the referee was behind Julius when he made that call. I don't know how he can actually make that call without conferring with his other referees. But also, just finish on this point, they screwed up on the RJ call. RJ clearly had his hand on the ball the entire time, never let it go. So then that forced Thibs to use his challenge. So then he couldn't use it later on. So there you go. Bad refereeing killed our possibilities to steal that game. But still, I think we sent the message to Nets in that one. How did you feel about that game, JD?
That game was the tale of 2 halves. The first half we couldn't get anything going. Defensively, we were giving up basically everything that they wanted, and in the second half we fought back. We made adjustments. Frank played great defense, which allowed us to make a little comeback there. Randall picked it up. RJ picked it up. I think Reggie Bullock's first half 3-pointers allowed us to stay within distance to even have a comeback. So I thought that was key. And, in the end, it was a tough loss, controversial call. And it was an emotional loss. You could tell by the way the game ended with Julius Randle. You could tell he really wanted that game deep down inside. He went into that game wanting to win that game, because otherwise he would have never reacted that way. Forget about the call. I think the emotions of the so-called rivalry and everything that's come with the hype in the game, national television. Randle, that game was a little personal for Randle. So we moved on to Philly, which what happened there.
Yeah, all right, I'll jump on that one, and then I'll send it back to you. That one actually hurts more because we had the lead in the fourth quarter. And that fourth quarter, the problem is, it's hard to really. I mean, they were gassed. Julius was gassed. That's just what happened. He played 41 minutes against the Phillies. I mean, against the Nets, the Nets, and that's a lot of minutes. And then the Sixers, he just didn't have it. I think he didn't score a field goal for the last 5 minutes of the game.
He went through a stretch where he missed like 8 shots in a row or something.
Yeah, 8 shots in a row. And some of them were forced. I mean, I got to say, he reverted back. And that comes from exhaustion. You're not sharp enough. You don't make the reads. And your team is struggling, because everybody was struggling, to score. I mean, RJ was struggling to score. He had 2 that he should have made. But there was that one play where Julius spins into the lane and he goes up in the air and he had nothing. And he just dumped it to RJ, and luckily RJ just happened to be there, and he curled around, and he had that little 7-footer or something, which he normally makes that. Didn't go in. Wow, that was painful. But Frank had a big miss that we needed. I mean, thing is, the Sixers, they had their guys hit. Their rotation guys, or their situational players, or whatever you want to call them, they hit their shots. Thibault hit a 3. Cormish, how do you say his name?
I think is Korkmaz.
Korkmaz. He hit a couple big buckets. Actually, 3 big ones. And then there was that one play where, again, it comes from fatigue. The brain is just not sharp. Reggie was playing some solid D on, I believe it was Harris, as he was backing him down into the paint. And Randle decided to go double, but he didn't fully commit. And when he doubled, he didn't cut off the passing lane to the other Curry. And then he was wide open, and that was it. But they took the lead, and I think we did manage to tie it, but then that was just you could see how things were just trending. It just wasn't going to go the right way.
Yeah, I mean, listen, my biggest takeaways from these last 2 games is one of them is, you see here with, Rose being out, Mitchell Robinson being out, a guy like Taj Gibson being over the hill, even though he's playing hard, he's giving us some production. But you see the need when franchises are, when a franchise has lottery picks, the importance of making sure you hit on them. And at the very least, develop rotational players. Because when you play in back-to-backs, like the Philly game, that was a prime opportunity where if we had actual depth, right? Randle doesn't play 41 minutes. Maybe he plays 34, right? And Obi, instead of playing 7 minutes or whatever it was, plays, 18. But, when you look at Knox, when you look at Obi, when you look at Frank, who has been getting minutes, but hasn't produced anything offensively, it just frustrates me as a Knicks fan. And I reflect, and it's just frustrating to see what's happened recently with our drafts. I mean, the jury's still out on Obi, but as of right now, in the minutes he's getting, he's not impacting the floor, and he's not contributing to anything impactful for us. So that's one takeaway.
You couldn't be referring to the self block,
or you're talking about the one when he drove
the rim.
Oh my God!
come on, man. Come on. What the hell is that?
You see,
Seriously.
and that's part of what we discussed privately is the on-court awareness. And remember, I mentioned that a lot of people have been talking about Obi's defense, but one of the biggest concerns has been his lack of awareness offensively in terms of where he's going out on the floor, the spots that he's asking for the floor, lack of technique in positioning himself in the paint, whether it's for the ball or for a rebound. He's just completely out of sync.
You're so right. You're so right, man.
And I think that's what needs to improve in order for him to be effective. I think this season is probably going to be a wash for him. The way that he's trending, Tibbs is going to start to cut the rotation, and so I think they're going to hit a reset with him. Let's just get you under a full off season, and let's restart it next year.
You know what? You're totally right. I think Obi is destined to be taken out of the rotation, but right now, because we're short players. Rose is still out, Peyton's out, Rivers probably would have played the past couple of games if he was around. It's a situation. This is the situation, but he's not there. I don't know what the deal is, but he's not. And Obi really, you know what? You nailed it there. Obi's issues are not on the defensive end. Yeah, he's not a good defender. Yeah, he's learning that. But he's mobile, he's active. I see him sometimes, he's disruptive. But it's the offense. If he was delivering on the offensive end what was promised us as Knicks fans when they drafted him, first of all, we'd be smiling right now because we would have won 2 games in a row against the top 2 teams in the Eastern Conference.
Right.
I just feel that.
And Quickley's not a great defender. Quickley has a lot to improve there, and he's getting minutes. Why? Because he can score, right? Obi's been compared a lot to Amari. Amari was never a great defender. He had spurts, he had seasons where he improved, right? But Amari's calling card was offense. And so Obi, that's what I'm saying. A lot of people focus on his defense, but his awareness on offense has been behind. And he was advertised as an NBA ready player, college player of the year, NBA ready from day one. That's what I was told from day one. And he's 23 now. So, he's looking like more of a project, but, we'll see next year. Cause I'm adjusting my expectations for Obi right now.
Yeah, I still have hope for him. I see that. He had no summer league. He had a shortened preseason, and he also has a player in front of him who is having a tremendous season. Basically, when the game starts getting a little bit out of hand, Thibs just pulls him because he's got Julius Randle who can come in, and we're looking for wins. So there's not that much patience with him right now, and that's just the situation that it is. He's a late bloomer. He's a little starry-eyed sometimes. He doesn't have that focus that you need. He gets a little bit rattled. Rattles, like I said before, that's not the right word, but I keep saying it because how else do you explain missing that dunk?
Deer in the headlights. He's just thinking too much. That's what's going on. He knows that he's going to go into the game for a maximum of 12 minutes. On a good night, he's going to play 12 minutes.
That's what he's been averaging all year, is 12 minutes.
Right. And recently he's been under that. And so when you have a young player with those expectations, right? His mother's on Twitter. His mother's invested in the team, is invested in him. He's in New York. You saw, his interview after he was drafted, how emotional he was. On TV, he sounds like he's okay. He looks like he's okay. He's cheering his team on. He doesn't look too down on himself. So his body language hasn't been an issue. But I know inside, he has he's feeling a lot of pressure. And so what happens is you go into the game and Thibodeau is already a demanding coach, and you overthink it. You're thinking a lot. You're thinking about the next mistake you're going to make, and you get a clear layup or dunk. And in the middle of while you're on air, he doesn't know if he wants to lay it up or dunk it. And that's what you get.
I hear you, but still, this is the offense. This is what you've been doing your whole life, making buckets.
Gotta be patient, George.
He was one of the 3 featured dunkers for the NBA All-Star Dunk Contest. This is who the NBA brought out to introduce to the world because it's the most viewed. It's more viewed, I believe, than the NBA Finals.
Gotta be patient.
And he was robbed. He was robbed. He should have won the dunk contest. But then when you see last night's play, you're like, wow.
Gotta be patient, Jones. I can't believe I'm saying that for a 23-year-old.
Yeah.
And we have a 20-year-old in RJ on the other end. So
that's the other thing.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I think we can keep talking about those 2 games for a long time.
Enough of the pain. Enough of the pain.
Yeah. Enough of the pain.
I've been hurt these last 2 games.
I know you have. You were suffering. I saw you on MBK last night. You were, man, the pain.
God. Yeah.
I was heated Sunday. Heated.
When you texted me, my phone was heating up. I couldn't touch it because your text they were very, let's just say they were not cut for TV.
No. Oh man. Well, there is a really wonderful bright spot. Immanuel Quickley. Immanuel Quickley, the 25th pick in the first round, is, in my opinion, I think the second best rookie of the year right now, behind LaMelo. And he's finally got the start. He started 2 games against Kyrie and against Ben Simmons. Pretty tough. But he rose up to the challenge. Of course, his game is flawed, but he can make buckets, and he creates floor spacing that RJ and Julius desperately need, and we saw it more in the Nets game. But I wonder what Thibs has planned for the future, the near future of Immanuel Quickley. I mean, Rose, it looks like he does have COVID, like you said, and people don't bounce back from that quickly. So, we may be in this situation for an extended period. Probably at least another week, I would say. What do you think, JD?
Well, I think that, for the foreseeable future, he's going to be the starter until... Let me go into a little bit of Quickley before I say until, because that's the part that you're not going to like. So, I think if it were up to me, he would start for the rest of the season. And the only reason I say that is, and Rose would be the backup. And if it were up to me, is because I personally project him as a 6th man of the year candidate, future 6th man of the year candidate, a Lou Williams type, Terry Rozier when he was in Boston in his earlier years of his career.
Now, when you say that, you see that as like a very realistic role.
Yeah,
that he can reach.
Yeah, because I see
like he wouldn't have to do too much to fill that role. Just refine the game that he currently has, incorporate a few things, but he's basically kind of that player right now.
Right. Because I see, just when you look at our roster with Elfrid Payton and Rose for the simple fact of age, right? And Elfrid Payton because he's just not an effective point guard long term. He's not the long-term answer. So what else do you have? So, in other words, the team is going to look to upgrade the position. And I think the team is going to upgrade the position for a long-term starter. Like, for example, possibly Alonzo Ball. Like, something like that. And so because I think they're going to upgrade the position for the future, that now puts Quickley into a 6-man row. Unless you play, extremely small ball and you look to start him at the 2 guard, you know what I mean? And put RJ at the 3 and play real small ball. But it doesn't look like Tibbs plays that way because of, the Mitchell Robinson, Nerlens Noel rotation. And then the rumors that are going on with the centers that the Knicks have been rumored to be interested in. So because of that, I think I view him as a future 6-man. But here's the tricky thing to that. because I think the Knicks also view him that well, at least under Tom Thibodeau, under his system, he views him as a six man. I think Elfrid Payton will regain his starting position. When you look at Reggie Bullock, Reggie Bullock was hurt earlier this year. Everybody thought it was going to be Kevin Knox. Everybody thought it was going to be Alec Burks.
A little like,
that's why I said I was going to wait to that part because I know you were not going to be at all thrilled about the reality.
You're killing me, JD, with that. Listen, but you're probably.
I'm giving you the front office.
If Payton doesn't get traded, I think you're right. If Payton doesn't get traded, he probably continues to start.
I'm giving you the coach. I'm basing it on what we have seen with the coach that we have, the system that he runs, and the priorities and his criteria, which is he values Elfrid Payton's defense. Elfrid Payton is a strong point guard. He has size. And for whatever that's worth, that's important to Tom Thibodeau, right? And if you look at the fit, actually, if Elfrid Payton came off the bench, you can make a case that's not even going to help the team because when you look at teams around the league, the way that they construct rosters, you need scoring off the bench, and Elfrid Payton's not going to provide scoring off the bench.
I hope that gets addressed before the trade deadline. Add some scoring punch for the second unit.
Well, I think we'll touch on that possibility on our trade video. Yeah. We'll bring up some potential targets and realistic targets and some not so realistic, but you never know. But I think Elfrid Payton's going to regain the starting job. Tibbs has been consistent in his approach all year, and I don't think he's going to change now when we're fighting for that playoff, to be a playoff team. Now, in terms of Quickley, do you have that? The floater game has returned.
Yes.
And so I know that that's been
from the free throw line.
That's been an interesting topic of conversation among the Knicks community.
The floater has made a return. It was absent for almost about 15 games. It was totally MIA, but it's definitely back the past 5 games up. The kid has earned the right to be a starter because the New York Knicks need to know what he is made of. What's his story? Can he be CJ McCollum?
Yeah, you need to. That's what I say. You need to find out.
And the season has gotten it's created some false expectations. Once we started winning a few games, when we were 5-3, we were all excited. We're like, we're playoff bound. And we are. But there's a cost. The cost is player development. Look what happened to Knox. Where is he? Look at Frank. And then Obi. Like you said, our 3 lottery picks. If these guys had been developed properly, they would be contributing right now. And we wouldn't have Julius gassed in the fourth quarter of the second game of back-to-back because Obi would have contributed enough to give him enough rest, or Knox. But that's not the situation we have. We have to keep this cake in the oven, keep it baking. Let's see what can develop with Quickley as the starting point guard for now, because we have some serious issues. Now, of course, if we make a trade and we bring in Alonzo or I guess right now it's only Lonzo's the only point guard that's being discussed.
Kyle Lowry, maybe.
Oh, Kyle Lowry. Yeah, Lowry.
I see it unlikely, but he's a name that's
I see mentioned. That. I see that. Why would he want? I think he would go to a team that actually has a chance to win the championship this year if he's going to leave Toronto.
Listen, as a Knicks fan, I'm tired of stopgaps. I don't want band-aids. Don't give me DJ Augustine. Don't give me none of these,
look what we're seeing with RJ
players. I'm done with that.
RJ's developing.
We need a dynamic guard. We need a dynamic point guard. Enough with the band-aids. Enough with the 34-year-old guys. I'm done with that. Lonzo qualifies. He qualifies. He's young enough. He is dynamic as a point guard. He can be a little bit more. He could be a little bit more aggressive at times, but he qualifies. Get me something like that or near that. But enough with the over the hill vets and all that.
I haven't even thought much about it, but having Rose on the team, if we trade for Lonzo, could be not good for Lonzo. You know, Rose can kind of teach him how to be a little more aggressive, how to attack the basket.
You think how Rose for the team is a positive overall. Look what's happened without him, and Quickley having to be pushed into the starting lineup has depleted the bench. Where if Rose was here, we could have probably won those 2 games.
I really do. At least one of the 2. I think we would have had a split.
That's why Peyton wouldn't find a role. If Peyton's not a starter, I don't see how he has a role. Because if we would have had Peyton these last 2 games, we're not winning those 2 games. If we would have had Rose,
they gotta get him off this team. They gotta get him off this team because you can't.
You're too hard on him, man.
You can't. Well, but you can't say, oh, well, we have to start him because he doesn't work in the second unit. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's like, so you're like, why? For a guy who makes $5 million a year, who is one of the most inefficient point guards in the game.
Have to deal with it, George, until they upgrade it.
Well, I don't know. I think you know what?
You can hold that
side bet. $5. $5 that if Rose and Peyton return and they're healthy, that Rose gets the start.
Okay.
Or quickly stays as the starter.
I'll be sending you
$5
right after this. I'll send you my Cash App. You could start sending it because Peyton's it's not gonna happen.
Oh man, that hurts.
I hope I'm wrong. That would be the best $5 I would have ever given away.
Well, you know, the good thing is, I mean, not a good thing, but, you know, you got to seize opportunities where they are. Like we mentioned before, Rose is not going to be back for at least another week, I would assume. And Peyton, we don't have no idea. So it looks like Quickley is going to get like an additional 4 starts to prove himself. And if he shows growth as a point guard in the next 4 games, it's going to be really hard to take him out of the starting unit.
Well, we're going to have to get some wins with that too. So we'll see.
I hope we get 4 wins. I want 4 wins. I want revenge on the Sixers. I want to completely annihilate the Magic and a back-to-back sweep of the Wizards.
That is right. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. All right, well, this has been great. Thank you for coming by the Knicks-Verse. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do and hit that thumbs up button for us. And JD, if people want to find you, how should they do that?
Well, you guys will see me around, but if you want to connect, you want to find me at Twitter, JD Sports Market. Very simple, straight to the point. JD Sports Market.
Excellent. And if you want to reach out to me, I'm on Twitter as well, Knicks-Verse, and Instagram. See you around the Knicks-Verse.